Good evening, everyone. We are live. Welcome to Wednesdays for Waste Warriors. It has been extremely hot, and we just celebrated World Environment Day, and we saw how bad the condition is, whether it is global, national, state, or city level. And I saw a very disturbing picture of a lane in Delhi, which is like a river full of plastic. It was very disturbing. What is happening when people are pledging? They are saying that we are. Why isn't the impact happening? Why are people not changing? That's what we need to find out. And through My Waste, My Responsibility, we are here talking about what individuals can do and how individuals can be part of things in their own cities or neighborhoods and make a difference. So Wednesdays for Waste Warriors, WWW equals 5R, is an initiative to highlight the work of individuals who have decided to make a dent in this waste management sector. And one of the very impressive young lady we'll be talking to today started something when she had gone out traveling to another let's say a tourist place, a hilly place, and what she saw made her rethink of her professional choices, and then she started this project which is called the Malba project. So we do have many questions. We're waiting for her to join, and it'll be great to hear from you guys in chat. What are you all doing for waste management? What behavior modification have you all done until now for waste management, for segregation, so we know, and also share which city are you from. Thank you. Okay, teaching societies how to make bioenzymes. Yeah, that's a very important tool we all can learn, and it's very easy, simple, and does not require investment, because we have peels and we have the veggies and fruit, everything at home, and it's a very good quick starter. So that's great what you're doing. I use products made out of bioenzymes for cleaning, for washing, laundry, dishwashing, everything. So I have made that a change, and believe me, it just takes one decision, and the moment you decide, then you are free of all those chemicals. So I'm glad that many people are talking about bioenzymes, learning how to make it, and that way they can be independent. And bioenzymes are also important for our rivers, our water bodies, because the chemicals that the various cleaning brands have, if you carefully read the labels and you compare it with a permissible amount, what is permissible for human use, or what can be allowed, those products are way beyond the permissible limits. So one thing that's very important is you need to start reading the labels. And when we read the labels, even for food, and you read that there's palm oil, you just stop buying that product, stop using that product, because palm oil is not good for you. That's it. That's how simple it can be to make a choice, that you have some ethical values that, this is not good for me or my family, and I'm not going to do this. So we have Digit Matthew from Sahas, and he's working on CND waste. That's great, Digit. And today you will be listening to her story. This is all about CND waste, which in Hindi and usually it's called Malba, which you see piles of Malba on either side of the road, lane, street, highway, just anywhere. Oh, that's great. Your project is based in Bangalore. So we recently I had a conversation with one of the municipal, the waste worker, the officer in the department, and I was asking, why do we have all these hills of CND waste? Why doesn't it get picked up? Why aren't you using it for making paver blocks, or there are many uses for CND waste as well. So he told me kind of an inside story, which was that the vendor was not paid for months, so the vendor stopped picking up, and then it was time to renegotiate, and the new tenders were coming in. So that's the period going on, and that's why nobody's picking up. And very often there is, especially in Pune, there is dearth of vehicles for picking up. So our guest has joined. I hope she's able to hear me.
Hi, I seem to be
Hi. Hi,
rotated.
Shamita. Are you able to hear
Hi,
me?
I'm good. I'm good, but I seem to be rotated. Let me try
Yes.
to.
You can just
Let me.
try to. Okay,
I'll
no
rejoin.
problem. That's okay. That's okay. Yes. So we are all looking forward to hear from. Her name is Shamita, and she's um, based out of Mumbai, Bombay, and you know we, I guess, like we say, it takes a village to bring up children. The same way, it'll take an entire village, or maybe many villages, to sort this, resolve this waste management problems that we all have. And there are so many departments, there are so many um challenges that we all have. Hilly regions have some different set of challenges. Coastal areas have a different set of challenges. So rivers, when we have rivers, then all the kachra is going in the river. Like in Pune, we have seven rivers in the district, and many of them are in dying state. And the recent progress that they are all very focused on is let them dry, make it into a land packet, and then do their favorite activity, development. And that's why we are we all have to be active in our own cities and take care of these natural bodies, because if you don't have those resources. Hi, Shamita.
Hey, hi. Okay, this is better.
Okay, good. So you're able to hear and everything is fine.
Yes, yes.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you. And sorry that you joined and then I wasn't there.
No
So sorry
worries.
for that.
No worries, no worries. The downside of that is that I have a time limitation, so I'll have to pop off in like 30 minutes, if that's
Okay.
okay.
As in 7:30, you'll be finishing it.
If that's possible, if we can cut it down to 7:15, but yeah.
So
Yeah.
no problem. We'll start. There are many people waiting to hear your story, and I'll introduce you as Shamita, who's the founder of Malba project, and then I'll ask you a question. Malba and girl, this you must like hundreds and thousands of people must have asked you.
Yeah.
So please share your story.
Okay. Um, so I am. Hi everyone for who's watching. My name is Shamita Chaudhary. I am an architect actually. My bachelor's was in architecture. I am a practicing architect, and this is kind of how I got introduced into the concept of Malba, because I think I was so sensitive about construction that I would see it everywhere around me, and more often than not, I started seeing waste. And yeah, so this is kind of what piqued my interest. It was on a trip to Manali. Actually, I got stuck in a 12-hour long traffic jam because
Oh.
there was Malba on both sides of the road, and I think this was back in 2018, and it was such a wake-up call that okay, this is what my profession is actively contributing to, and I think that is when it was like an Arya Par situation where I was like, okay, either I keep doing this or I change what I do. I got introduced to the concept of circular economy when I was just sitting in that bus googling on my phone what to do about waste,
Mhm.
and suddenly circular economy popped up, and then I was very curious about this कि ये circular economy क्या होता है. And so there was very little information available about it on the internet also back then, and I wasn't getting any answers to my questions. One day a master's program popped up that there's a master's in circular economy happening, and I enrolled in it. Somehow I got through, and yeah, so I ended up studying circular economy, and I tried to bring my architecture and my circular economy knowledge together, and that's how Malba project was born. It was born while I was writing my thesis, and I just wanted to share information with everyone about all the cool things I was learning.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good, good, good. So, how do you answer that question? कि लड़की हो के मलबा से रिलेटेड काम करती हो?
I think ये वाला question mostly site पे ज़्यादा पूछा जाता है. The workers tend to question you more. Not as much everyone else, because everybody understands now that okay, you're well educated, and of course, women are everywhere now. Uh, but the workers are mostly very surprised कि मैम आप क्या कर रहे हो. एक तो आप कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट पे क्या कर रहे हो, और ऊपर से आप ये वेस्ट का काम क्या कर रहे हो. ये लड़की के लिए बिल्कुल शोभा नहीं देता. But I think over time they also realize कि okay, मैम से भी कुछ सीखने को है हमें, वो भी हमें कुछ नया बता सकती हैं. तो over time I think they also get used to it. They also feel very happy about it because a lot of them also have daughters at home, and they're also trying to educate their children. So I think somewhere they feel happy कि okay, our profession is not so bad.
Yeah.
There are women also working in it. It's like a bit of a validation for them also कि ठीक है, इतनी बुरी जगह पे नहीं काम करते हैं, मैम भी आती हैं यहाँ पे काम करने, तो कुछ तो फ्यूचर है इसका.
And actually, कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट पे अगर हम देखें तो बहुत औरतें भी काम करती हैं एज कंस्ट्रक्शन लेबर्स बहुत जगह पर. तो वो उनके पास एक रहता है, बट यूजुअली कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो रहते हैं वो हमेशा मेल ही होते हैं. तो that's the reason
Women
I
always
asked.
have the women always have the worst work on the site. They'll always be asked to pick up the bricks. सारा tedious काम वो करते हैं. Skilled labor नहीं होते हैं women. When they see skilled women coming to site, I think they also have some apprehensions initially, but over time it gets better.
Yes. Thank you so much for busting that, because वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. कोई भी ऐसा काम नहीं है. हम यही सबको बताना चाहते हैं अपने daughters को या अपने colleagues को कि जब भी हम manners देखते हैं तो हमें ये लगता है कि क्यों यहाँ पर एक औरत नहीं है, एक लड़की नहीं है, क्या उसको नहीं पता इस topic के बारे में. So it's very important, what you're doing. So thank you so much for being that role model that many people need to see. So when you and I would say that आपने बस में ही अगर Google करना शुरू कर दिया, so that was like super rapid, quick, instant reaction कि मुझे तो ये करना ही है. It shows your determination.
Yeah, it has to be done. It was really a wake-up call. Human beings don't tend to change from their position of inertia till there is an external force acting upon it, right? Newton's law of motion.
Exactly.
We need that inertia. So that Malba, that 12-hour long traffic jam was my breaking out of inertia. External force.
Glad that, not happy that it happened, but glad that you made this out of it. So tell us something about the Malba project. There are people who want to know about what is Malba project.
Okay. तो मलबा प्रोजेक्ट इनिशियली शुरू हुआ एज लाइक अ रिसर्च एंड एडवोकेसी प्लेटफॉर्म, और वो हम अभी भी करते हैं. So the idea is कि everyone keeps talking about plastic is such a huge problem. But Malba, which is construction and demolition waste, is also non-biodegradable. It is also dumped in the same places. It goes to the landfill, it is dumped in our rivers, it is dumped in our forests. It also has some toxic elements which leach into our groundwater. It's a major source of air pollution. So the idea was initially कि लोगों को at least aware कराएं कि ये भी एक waste stream है जिसके ऊपर ध्यान देने की काफी जरूरत है. This is an important waste stream to talk about. It is the largest waste stream in the world, comprising of almost 30 to 40% of all solid waste globally. This sector in general contributes to 30% of Delhi's air pollution, which is a massive number. So idea was कि normally लोगों को aware कराएं, but specifically construction industry के जो practitioners हैं, that we make them aware about this. And this is what we started doing. और जितनी हमने research करी, we found कि it's a knowledge gap at the end of the day. And we said knowledge gap is quite easily solvable. And from being just a research and advocacy platform, we said that let's be a solution oriented organization instead. So then from just identifying problem, we started looking for solutions. One of the first things that we identified was that recycling plants are the technology is here, and not only is it here, it's been here for like over 10 years. So if you take the case of Delhi, Delhi has 5 recycling plants. That's a massive number. A lot of developed countries don't have the kind of infrastructure we have. You're in Pune, right?
Yeah.
Pune has 2. So like the recycling plants are available in many of the major cities around the country. Then why is it that we still see illegally dumped waste on roadsides, in parks, in our drains, in back alleys? Why do we see it all around? So that last mile connection of making sure the waste actually reaches the plant is the problem that we were trying to solve. That how can we make recycling more accessible for each and every practitioner, whether you're a homeowner, you're renovating your house, you have a small quantity of Malba, or you are demolishing your house and rebuilding it, and you have 100 trucks of Malba. How can we make sure that everybody has access to the recycling plant? Because currently they don't have access to it. The business models and all of that are set out in a way that it's not affordable for you to send your waste to recycling. That's why अगर आप अपने कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को बोलोगे कि आप मलबा ले जाइए, तो वो probably recycling के लिए नहीं लेके जाएगा.
Yeah. So, what did you find? आपको क्या लगा कि what needs to be done? इस gap को fill करने के लिए what can we do, or have you started doing something?
So we've started doing something, yes. Last year we conducted a small pilot study with the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. Just 6 wards in Delhi we were running this service in. We had one collection facility. So what we did was that we took a collection facility. We sort of nudged the Municipal Corporation that establish a collection facility which is accessible for people in a neighborhood. So when you collect everybody's waste in one point, and from there taking it to a recycling facility once it's been collected is a more feasible thing to do. अगर आप छोटी छोटी quantities ले जाओगे तो उसका cost काफी बढ़ जाता है. But अगर आप सबका साथ में लेके जाओ, so it's like sharing the cost. Everybody shares the cost of sending it for recycling. So this is something that we've started to do. I wouldn't say it is. It's scaled to it's available everywhere. It's still something that we're trying and testing and checking out in little pockets of Delhi. This year we've started offering this service in small parts of South Delhi also. But there are many operational barriers that we face and which stop it from being like a roaring success. So I think what we also want to work on parallelly is not just provide a service, but also work on the policy that can make this service a seamless thing. Because it is a policy barrier, which is why it's not affordable.
Yeah. So you, who can be the helping hands here? Like policy barrier at the central government level or the state government level or the municipal corporation?
It's a state level barrier and a municipal corporation level barrier. From the center, they've already created the rules which need to be followed.
Yes.
They're not perfect, but they're there, and
they're
good enough.
Yeah.
और अगर हम उतना ही implement कर दें तो that is also enough.
Exactly.
But वो जब शुरू होता है सेंटर से और जब तक वो ट्रिकल डाउन होता है हमारे नेबरहुड लेवल पे वो इतना डाइल्यूट हो जाता है कि आई थिंक दैट इज where we need to strengthen it. The execution of these policies is what needs to be strengthened. Nobody knows ki policy kya hai. Nobody knows ki nahi karenge to kya hoga, karenge to kya hoga. There are no incentives and penalties set up properly right now. We just released an article on the same thing right now. So, for those who want to read about this in detail, what should you expect from your government? There's a new article out on our blog and you can read about it in more detail.
Would you be able to put the link here, or if you send it to me on WhatsApp, I can share the link here? So while Shamita is sharing the article with us, see, this is the main issue is the availability of the space for the collection center in metropolitan city with much less space and more population. That's true. And the government rules that they just give, here's the link.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
No, so someone said that the main issue is the availability of the space for the collection center in the metropolitan cities with much less space and more population. So he is working with Sahas in Bangalore, and they are also doing a project on C&D waste.
Oh, I think I just connected with him recently. I think you just mailed me recently, Matthew. Yeah. Okay. So 100%, yes. The availability of space is a problem, but I think it's a matter of will. So what we're doing in Delhi, for example, is there is a municipal corporation office. There's a ward office. There are like 250 wards in Delhi, and each ward has an office. That office has an open space attached to it. So what we're doing right now is we're using that open space to create a collection facility. So there we go. We have space. So that's an excuse that they can't find space because the municipal corporation offices have space. They might have a small space, but that space is there. and there are more options also. So for example, we've been suggesting that how about using the underside of flyovers, you know, to to create collection space. They're accessible by road.
Yeah.
You know, large trucks can access them. um, they're usually derelict spaces, वहाँ पे already illegal dumping हो रहा है. So why not use those spaces only? Because clearly that's convenient for everyone to go illegally dump their waste. But if we create like an authorized collection facility there, um, it works for so many reasons. You know, it's also covered from the top. So whenever you drop your waste, the dust will not emanate. You only need to cover it from two sides. It's like it works logistically. So many reasons for it to work. So
what is the challenge there?
So the challenge there is how the distribution of power happens. So roads PWD की हैं, waste issue MCD का है, policies Delhi government को set करनी है. तो इन तीनों के बीच में जो coordination होता है, वही like navigate करना इतना मुश्किल हो जाता है हमारे लिए कि it's like they'll be like नहीं मैम ये हमारे jurisdiction में नहीं है, हम नहीं कर सकते, हम बोल ही नहीं सकते उनको. But you know, like there are open pieces of land, but there are so many different government agencies which are, you know, जिनकी jurisdiction में आता है वो. Like there will be like flood control department का एक open piece of land होगा which is being used for dumping waste, but you can't take one small corner of it and actually create a waste collection facility. So yes,
yeah,
it's just annoying.
Talking to each other, वो they don't talk to each other. वो उनका alignment ही नहीं है, you know.
Yeah,
और वो तो हम लोग भी जस्ट एज बॉरेमॉन्स हम भी वो चीज फेस करते हैं कि जब हम कहते हैं कि आप एयर पोल्यूशन के लिए ये रहे आपके नो योर राइट्स के एसओपीज और आप अपने अपने शहर में उसके कंप्लेन करिए कि कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट का ये कंप्लेन है वो, लेकिन वो कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट का कंप्लेन करने के बाद जो एक्शन है वो एक्शन ही नहीं होती है. तो उसके कारण धीरे धीरे यू नो लोग भी थोड़े वो हो जाते हैं कि अरे हमने कंप्लेन किया उसका कोई फायदा नहीं हो रहा, वो डाल रहा है तो मैं भी वहां पे डाल सकता हूँ. दैट वो थोड़ा सा हो जाता है. बैड बिहेवियर इज वेरी इजी टू लर्न, गुड बिहेवियर इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट.
Agreed, 100%, 100%.
So we have a few questions. Now, Greenhope's asking, don't you think that government should actively make it an important issue in their agenda because we individuals are doing things at our end?
100%.
How do we push for that?
Yeah, like, so apparently it is a part of their agenda, but it clearly doesn't rank very high enough. So because the topic of plastic right now is very hot, plastic seems to be the you know, the roaring agenda, but something which is 50 times a larger problem doesn't seem to catch anybody's attention because it's not a hot topic yet. That is one plausible explanation. Second thing is कि अभी तक because it's not a hot topic, इसके ऊपर अभी तक policy भी नहीं बनाई है which is enforceable. So there might be some penalties that might be applicable if you dump illegally or something, but you won't find like a proper policy document which people can hold the government accountable for कि देखो आपने ये बनाया है, why is this not being followed or how is this being followed.
Okay.
So that is a major gap. At least in Delhi, that's a gap, that there's just no enforceable policy document.
वो तो मतलब हम लोग हर साल देखते हैं कि दिल्ली कितने मल्टी लेयर ऑफ एयर पोल्यूशन से गुजरता है एंड इट्स वेरी रियली अ वेरी रेचेड यू नो फीलिंग कि आप कितना भी कुछ कर लो वो कम नहीं होता है. वी कांट गिव दैट क्लीन एयर टू द पीपल, टू द चिल्ड्रन, बिकॉज आप कितने लेवल पे कर सकते हो. CND waste is just one of the contributors. उसके अलावा कितने सारे हैं. So it has to be like joint forces.
Delhi also is so built up, you know. So when it's so built up, the air usually gets trapped. There's no flow which is clearing the air. When the pollution settles in, there's no way for it to get out.
So there's a question: what is this Malba used for in the recycling plant? For उसका क्या करते हैं?
Okay. So Malba जो recycling plants recycle करते हैं consists of concrete, like basically broken जो debris होता है concrete का, broken bricks and soil. तो पहले वो उसको wash करते हैं, they get rid of all the soil, then they crush. Once it's been washed and cleaned and all of that, then they crush the bricks of the concrete to like smaller sizes. The finer you crush it, the different kind of end uses it might have.
Okay.
So if you crush it super fine, it's like sand, and sand is one of the most scarce resources in the world, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good replacement for sand. It's a very sustainable replacement for sand. Then if you crush it a little coarser, 10 mm, 20 mm, it becomes a replacement for aggregate. So the stone aggregate, जिसको रोड़ी बोलते हैं, जो concrete में डलती है, तो ये sand और aggregate से you can make recycled concrete products essentially. So it's only like sand and stone को replace करके, but basically it's concrete. Anything that you can make with concrete, you can make with recycled.
Yeah. So उसे वापस से recycle करके flow में ला सकते हैं और उसको किसी भी construction या ऐसे किसी activity के लिए use किया जा सकता है.
Exactly. So you can sell it as a raw material in itself, which can be used at construction sites, or they make these paver blocks and those kind of things. So mostly, at least in Delhi, a lot of the places where you see those red, yellow colored paver blocks are usually recycled.
Yeah. So ये जो कहते हैं कि CND वेस्ट तो सब रिसाइकल होता है और उसके पेवर ब्लॉक्स बनते हैं, कॉर्पोरेशन वाले तो बिल्कुल कॉन्फिडेंटली बोलते हैं कि वो तो उधर जा रहा है. अगर आप उनसे क्वेश्चन पूछे तो पैट कम्स द आंसर. सो कितना हो रहा है? मतलब मैं तो आई एम ओनली इन पुणे, यू आर इन दिल्ली एंड लुकिंग एट द थिंग, बट वी हैव सो मेनी हंड्रेड्स ऑफ थाउजेंड्स ऑफ cities with these problems because construction तो हर जगह होता है.
Yeah. I can't put a number on it कि कितना हो रहा है,
Approx,
but I would say कि पूरा तो नहीं हो रहा है, because I've still seen many of these paver block manufacturers. So basically recycling plants पे paver blocks बन रहे हैं, तो जितनी उनकी capacity है उतने ही paver blocks बन रहे हैं, right? But the city needs more than that, and there are still manufacturers of paver blocks who are running on full capacity, like large scale paver block manufacturers who are using virgin materials. तो उनका business तो काफी अच्छा चल रहा है, so I'm assuming कि it's not fully being used.
मतलब it doesn't make sense. अगर government ने कुछ निकाला है तो then उनको virgin materials से बनाने वालों को बंद करना चाहिए और mandate करना चाहिए कि आपको सिर्फ ऐसे ही करना है.
Exactly.
Because I had read recently one of the ministers had said कि road सिर्फ अब construction CND base से ही बनेगी हर जगह. That's a rule. लेकिन I was like very eager to see कि वो कहाँ बनेगी.
नहीं, they're not procuring the materials. In fact, I was talking to one of the recycling plants, and this is one of their biggest grievances कि हमारे पास इतना सारा material है जो recycled है, और हम we're willing to like give it at a cost effective rate also, but people are just not procuring it. So they really like struggle with getting the material taken. They were telling me कि बिल्कुल recycling plant के पीछे ही सड़क बन रही थी. And they kept saying कि please take the material from us, please take the material from us. But a lot of times, you'll have these ministers or, जिनके लिए it's almost like वो शान की बात हो जाती है कि, हम ये गंदा material नहीं use करेंगे, हम तो new fresh material use करेंगे because, like ये हमारी शान की बात है. So they just end up not using it because they still see this material as superior. And end of the day, what is it doing? It's just forming a granular subbase. There's no structural use of this material. So why would you use fresh material for it? जब इतना सारा waste पड़ा है जो use हो सकता है.
बिल्कुल. हमें उसको कुछ एक fancy नाम देना पड़ेगा. I think.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
तब सबकी निगाहें उस पे आ जाएंगी.
I think one of the companies has started calling it green aggregate.
Okay. Green डाल दो तो सब कुछ हो जाता है. So You were an architect or you are an architect, and what do you think कि कौन सबसे बड़े buyers हो सकते हैं जो कि अपने modify कर सकते हैं behavior को, buying behavior को, because एक घर बनाने वाला तो सिर्फ इतना ही बनाएगा, लेकिन जो बड़े लेवल पे जहाँ पे काम हो रहा है वहां पे ये जाना चाहिए, तब कुछ we can make some kind of a difference.
Yeah. So I think the biggest taker for this material can definitely be the National Highways Authority or someone. Roads mein to it's like you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Just use it. Pavements, roads, like landscaping. It's a no-brainer. But the circular economy that we try to promote, it's not just Malba at the end of the day. There are so many more materials. So I would say कि जो लोग अपने घर बना रहे हैं आर्किटेक्ट्स वगैरह वो भी यूज कर सकते हैं. मे बी आप नॉन स्ट्रक्चरल पर्पसेस के लिए आप ये रिसाइकल्ड मटेरियल्स यूज कर सकते हो. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस ऑल्सो कितनी बिल्डिंग्स जो डिमोलिश होती हैं उनकी ब्रिक्स जो ईंटें होती हैं वो बिल्कुल सही सलामत बाहर निकल के आती हैं. You can use those. You'll save at least half the cost, like 50% of the cost of the bricks will be saved. And the brick industry, I think, is one of the most polluting industries.
Yes.
Because the brick kilns are so energy intensive, so pollution intensive. So I feel like if you use second-hand bricks, nothing like it. Reuse, like if you look at the waste hierarchy,
Yeah.
reuse so high, it's so much better than using even recycled products or
Yeah.
any of these fly ash bricks even.
बिल्कुल.
Just use something that's already existed. उसकी life थोड़ी खत्म हुई है अभी तक.
But
आपकी घर की life
ये
खत्म नहीं कम है ना, वही तो मैं कह रही हूँ, हाफ
नहीं,
प्राइस
लेकिन
पे मिलती
पॉकेट एम्प्टी हो
है.
जाता है. फिर इतने बड़े बड़े बजट कैसे बनेंगे, फिर 1,000 करोड़ किधर जाएगा अगर हमने रिसाइकल.
मैं कहती हूँ कि वही प्राइस लगा लो, नॉर्मल प्राइस लगा लो. whoever is pocketing the money will pocket some extra money. Just use the material, I feel. Because it's the best thing you can do.
हमें ऐसा लगता है कि चौराहे पे एक माइक्रोफोन लेकर, मेगाफोन लेकर ऐसे खड़े रह के बोलना है हर साइट पर जाके दैट आपको इसे रीयूज ही करना है. सो कितना
कर भी रहे, दीवार में किसको पता लग रहा है? It's going inside your wall. You're gonna plaster it, paint it. You're not gonna know. And a lot of times these old bricks, their quality is so much better than the ones you get today.
Yeah.
Because they're like the old soil, which is of much better quality, much higher compressive strength. Like these are really I feel like इनको antique के दाम पे बेचना चाहिए. In fact, हम इनको सस्ता बेच रहे हैं, which is like it's a steal. I don't know why people aren't using
वो
it.
पोजीशनिंग कर रही है ना उसकी. अब मलबा नाम सुनते से ये लगता है कि अरे यार क्या मलबा, अपन उसको पहले ही गया बीता बना देते हैं. तो अपन ने जब तक उसको कुछ फैंसी लाइक स्टार डस्ट या ऐसे कुछ ऐसे फैंसी नाम नहीं दिया, गोल्ड डस्ट, तब तक लोगों को लगे. बट थैंक यू सो मच. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं एंड बहुत सारे लोग हैं, जैसे कश्मीर से भी कुछ लोग ज्वाइन करके पूछ रहे हैं कि हमें ये अवेयरनेस सेशन चाहिए. So we would like to do that with you, and we would also like to do a session with you with Warrior Moms, क्योंकि हम हर जगह जो एयर पोल्यूशन के बारे में बात करते हैं, of course construction is one of the major focus areas, and we would like to talk the kind of the data number and the technical part that so much better. So we would like to do that, and there are many people who are asking so many things I haven't read, but yeah, so
we can answer something super quickly if there's any interesting question.
So even with laws, only NGO and small individuals are doing their bit. No government authority is taking accountability. But Malba includes everything like bricks, soil, cement, wood, plywood, wood, etc. So वो सारा कुछ use हो सकता है.
Actually, Malba में वो सब include नहीं होता. So the interesting last tidbit that I'm gonna leave everyone with is think about this. हमारी Hindi language में we have a word called Malba, which specifically talks about concrete and broken brick debris.
Yeah.
हम जब मलबे की बात करते हैं उसमें ब्रिक्स नहीं आती हैं, उसमें दरवाजे नहीं आते हैं, बिकॉज उन सब चीजों की इनहेरेंट वैल्यू है. बट मलबा is considered as something जिसकी कोई value नहीं है, जो waste ही है. But actually, now that there is technological advancement in the field and we have recycling technologies which can take this Malba also and turn it into something really awesome which can be used again. So technically, is there even anything called Malba? You know, it's like a paradox
Yeah.
almost. Like
Now,
now that initial concept of what we thought of as Malba is not Malba anymore because it can be used to create something new. It's a resource.
yeah. हम ये बोल सकते हैं कि जो भी अपना कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड डिमोलिशन का वेस्ट करेक्टली रीयूज नहीं कर रहा या रिसाइकलिंग प्लांट में नहीं दे रहा, उसके दिमाग में मलबा भरा हुआ है.
करेक्ट. यस.
और वो उसके दिमाग, आंखें, दिल, सब जगह से उस मलबे को हटाना है और उनको टोटल क्लीन करना है, ग्रीन करना है, और फिर हमें उन्हें बताना है कि देखो जैसे वेस्ट कर रहे हो, इट्स अ रिसोर्स.
Exactly, it's not waste anymore.
Yeah, it's not. The definitions have changed. So
Exactly.
वो कौन बताएगा उनको, वो कौन सिखाएगा? वो बड़े कन्वीनियंटली जब टाइम आता है तो ओल्ड स्कूल हो जाते हैं, और जब कुछ हाइड्रोजन या कुछ नया कुछ करना होता है तो वो न्यू स्कूल हो जाते हैं. सो कन्वीनियंस इज द driving force here.
Absolutely.
But, yes, thank you so much. And I'm the founder of Iti Skill School, in which I adopt these or help, not adopt, help these rural and underprivileged schools जिनके पास इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, फैसिलिटीज, इन सब की बहुत कमी है. बिकॉज गांव के कितने सारे स्कूल में तो टॉयलेट्स नहीं होते, दीवार टूटे होते हैं, बच्चे लोग ऐसे बैठे हैं. सो उनको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए, अभी रिसेंटली पुणे में एक स्कूल को इम्प्रूवमेंट करने के लिए मैंने ऐसा ही वो बनाया कि जो भी लोग रेनोवेट कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज इस वक्त लाइक वेंजेंस में रेनोवेशन चल रहा है हर जगह. सो जो भी लोग रेनोवेट कर रहे हैं, आप हमको अपने पुराने फैन, ट्यूबलाइट, टाइल्स, दरवाजे, ये सब कुछ दे दीजिए मुझे. मैं पूना में हूँ और मैंने वो व्हाट्सएप में भेजा मैसेज, उसके बाद मुझे लाइक वाशी, माटुंगा, बॉम्बे, कहाँ से फोन आए कि हमारे पास ये है, हमको देना है. सो इट शोड दैट पीपल वांट टू गिव, बट उनको ये पता नहीं कि हम कहाँ दे. तो नाउ पीपल हैव स्टार्ट, दे गिव सो मेनी फैंस, वी गॉट ट्यूबलाइट्स डन फॉर देम, बहुत सारी चीजें हमको मिली. लेकिन अगेन पिक अप दैट लॉजिस्टिक हैज टू बी figured out. Now I don't have a truck to pick up all these things, lekin I think that is what I should think about.
Our project can solve for you, because
what
we're doing now is providing the logistics for this.
Amazing.
So if you want, we can work something out and we can help on this.
All our schools will be like chakachak, high tech, बिल्कुल बढ़िया दरवाजे, बढ़िया कमोड्स, सब कुछ उनके पास ऐसा रहना चाहिए. That is my dream कि बहुत ही अच्छा हो जाएगा.
Amazing.
So good. Really amazing talking to you.
Thank you so much. Likewise. Thank you so much.
And there is another person who's saying if there are any end destinations for that in Delhi, maybe we'll do a part 2 of this conversation.
Let's do
we will do. And one of the Wednesdays, coming Wednesdays, we'll have when Shamita has a little more time. Somebody has suggested Malba ka Jalwa. Fancy name. Badhiya. Good. My God.
Thanks.
Take care.
Okay.
So, take care. Bye, and have a good evening. And thank you for joining.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Yeah. So, our guest is leaving because she has something urgent to attend. Bye, Shamita.
Bye.
And I will be happy to answer if any of you have any questions regarding this. We will definitely be doing this part 2. And Bindya, that was like a nice name. हमें उसके ऊपर जब हम अपना सेशन करेंगे तो उसके ऊपर भी हम बातें करेंगे. India is drowning in landfills, and if we had any proper recycling system, then kachra term won't be there. That's true, because पहले जो था, हम इसलिए actually पुराने ज़माने में, मेरे नानी के ज़माने में या उनके भी पहले के ज़माने में, कचरा निकलता ही नहीं था घर से। ओके, जो भी खाने, सब कुछ, ज़्यादातर लोगों का घर में सामान उगता था, या कोई पड़ोसी के घर में लौकी उग रही है तो वो लौकी सब लोग शेयर करके यूज़ कर रहे हैं। साल भर का वो लोग चावल गेहूं सब भरते थे जो खेत से आता था। सो वो एक देयर वर नो हंड्रेड्स ऑफ प्लास्टिक पैकेट। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल प्लास्टिक था ही नहीं, जो कि सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है। और ऐसे करके अगर हम देखें, सो सस्टेनेबल मेंस्ट्रुएशन प्रैक्टिस किया जाता था। दे यूज्ड टू यूज क्लॉथ which was washed and then used again. So आप कितनी भी आदतें देख लें, वो सारा उनका सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिसेस होती थी। जो हमारे टाइम में, जब मैं हाई स्कूल में थी, लेट्स से 90s में बदलना शुरू हुई, और वो एक एरोगेंस आ गया लोगों में कि अगर मैंने ये प्लास्टिक का मैंने यूज नहीं किया तो इसका मतलब है मेरे पास स्पेंडिंग कैपेसिटी नहीं है। सो क्या मैं नहीं कर सकती ये अफोर्ड, क्या मैं नहीं कर सकता, क्या हम ये अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते? वो जब एक एटीट्यूड आ गया कि हम क्या ये अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते, तब वो होड़ लग गई। दैट कॉम्पिटिशन, दैट रेस, कि सारे लोग जाके वो इंडिविजुअल और इंडिविजुअलिटी जो थी वो गलत जगह पर एक प्रूव करने का आ गया जोश। एंड दैट इज हाउ दिस एंटायर थिंग स्टार्टेड। आई फील जैसे कि सब लोग जो प्लास्टिक के बारे में, द प्रोपोनेंट्स ऑलवेज से कि मेडिकल यूज के लिए प्लास्टिक बहुत अच्छा था और उसी के लिए बनाया गया था। सो मैं उनको हाथ जोड़ के निवेदन करती हूँ, आप प्लीज प्लास्टिक को सिर्फ मेडिकल यूज तक के लिए ही वापस से मैंडेट कर दीजिए। डोमेस्टिक यूज के लिए प्लास्टिक को मत यूज करने दीजिए, बिकॉज अब वो पहले जैसे सस्टेनेबल थिंकिंग वाले लोग नहीं रहे। अब जो लोग हैं वो हमेशा ये सोचते हैं आई कैन डू दैट। मतलब उन्हें ये सोचना चाहिए आई डोंट वांट टू यूज सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, बट दे वुड रादर जस्ट टू शो दैट वन अपमैनशिप, ऑल दोज। हमें जो ये ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट कस्टमर बन गया है, कंज्यूमर बन गया है, सस्टेनेबल कंजम्पशन तो टोटल खिड़की से बाहर जा चुका है। सो if we want to bring those things back, it is all upon us. We are the consumers for big things, small things, रेसिडेंशियल बिल्डिंग में भी हम जाके रहते हैं, हम घर खरीदने जाते हैं, हम देखते हैं। तो आप किस तरीके से उस रेसिडेंशियल बिल्डिंग को पॉइंट्स दे रहे हैं कि आपको वो लेना है? आर यू सेइंग कि क्या वो सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिसेस कर रहे हैं? क्या वो नदी के बगल में है तो क्या उन्होंने नदी का कोई एक्विफर को ब्लॉक कर दिया है? ब्लू लाइन रेड लाइन के आसपास हैं, कितना एनक्रोचमेंट है? उनके वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम्स क्या हैं? मेरे पास नियरेस्ट ट्रैवल करने के लिए लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी क्या है? हम वो सब नहीं देखते। हम ये देखते हैं कि यहाँ पे कौन से मोबाइल नेटवर्क का सिग्नल ज़्यादा अच्छे से आता है, कौन से मॉल पास में है। वो सारे तरीके से जब तक आप उसमें और एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट्स नहीं ऐड करेंगे तो वो इनकम्प्लीट लिस्ट हमें ऐसे ही रिजल्ट्स देगी। एंड हर एक को अपनी चॉइस बनाने से पहले वो सोचना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप क्या अपना कार्बन फुटप्रिंट बढ़ा रहे हैं, कैसे बढ़ा रहे हैं। एंड उसके बाद में अगर आप पेपर के कप में चाय पीते हैं और फिर सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात करते हैं, तो आई थिंक दैट इज ऑक्सीमोरॉन। आई डू नॉट अप्रिशिएट एनीवन डूइंग दैट, एंड वी मस्ट वॉक द टॉक। अगर हमने कुछ डिसाइड किया है तो हमें वो करना ही है और आसपास के लोगों को भी करवाना है। देयर इज नो चॉइस जो कोई बोले कि ये मेरी मर्जी है कि मैं पेपर कप और पेपर डिस्पोजेबल मैं यूज करूं, दैट इज माय चॉइस। दैट वी डोंट हैव दैट टाइम कि लोगों के पास ऐसी चॉइसेस अब रहे। एवरीवन मस्ट यूज ओनली रीयूजेबल थिंग्स। सो जब आपकी पार्टीज हो रही है, आप बर्तन बैंक, क्रॉकरी बैंक से सामान लाइए, ना कि पेपर प्लेट्स और एल्यूमिनियम फॉइल के पैकेट्स में यूज करें। बहुत सारे ऐसे ऑप्शंस हैं। जब आप लेना बंद कर देंगे तो उन लोगों को मजबूरन बनाना, प्रोडक्शन बंद करना पड़ेगा। हमको वहाँ वो वाला मूवमेंट लेकर आना है। ये जो केमिकल लेडन क्लीनिंग एजेंट्स हैं, आपके घर में छोटे बच्चे हैं, आपके घर में डॉग्स हैं, पेट्स हैं आजकल, सो वो सारा कुछ उनके शरीर में जा रहा है। माइक्रो प्लास्टिक और केमिकल कैसे जा रहा है, इसी तरीके से जा रहा है ना। सो द मोमेंट यू डिसाइड कि अब मैं सिर्फ बायो एंजाइम बेस्ड प्रोडक्ट्स लूंगी या लूंगा, देर आर ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल। ऐसा कोई प्रोडक्ट नहीं है जो आप खरीदना चाहते हैं और वो मार्केट में अवेलेबल नहीं है। आपको हाँ थोड़ा सर्च करना पड़ेगा एक्स्ट्रा, बट इट इज डेफिनेटली अवेलेबल। एंड अगर आपको नहीं मिल रहा है और आपको मदद चाहिए टू स्टार्ट जीरो वेस्ट लाइफ, सस्टेनेबल लाइफ, हाउ टू स्टार्ट, आप हमको मैसेज करिए और बताइए। हम आपकी पूरी मदद करेंगे, बिकॉज दैट इज व्हाट वी वांट टू डू। वी वांट टू मेक इट अ मूवमेंट। हर जगह, गांव शहर हर जगह ये जो प्लास्टिक के कन्वीनियंस में लोग आराम कर रहे हैं, बट वो आराम नहीं है, वो एक्चुअली दैट इज द साइलेंस बिफोर द स्टॉर्म। सो हम बहुत बुरे हालत में हैं और हम सबको ये वेकअप कॉल है, अभी नहीं तो कभी नहीं होगा। सो प्लीज चेंज योर हैबिट्स नाउ। आज हमने सीखा कि मलबा, द कंस्ट्रक्शन एंड डिमोलिशन का वेस्ट, मैं जानती हूँ मेरे आसपास हर जगह हो रहा है, बट अगेन ड्यू टू द एरोगेंस जो पीपल हैव क्रिएटेड वॉल्स कि आप उन्हें कुछ बता नहीं सकते, कुछ बोल नहीं सकते। सो ठीक है, एक दो तीन पांच नहीं सुनेंगे, लेकिन फिर 10 20 100 सुनना चालू कर देंगे। सो माई वेस्ट माई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इस इंस्टा लाइव के प्लेटफॉर्म को यूटिलाइज करके बहुत सारे लोगों तक पहुंचना चाहते हैं हम लोग, और ये बताना चाहते हैं, एक अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करना चाहते हैं। देयर हैज टू बी जस्ट अ थॉट, आपके मन में आ जाए कि ओ आई डिडंट नो दैट, एंड आई विल स्टार्ट रीडिंग अबाउट इट। सो दैट itself is a good step. And after that you have to take action, you have to find out more, get help, and we will be happy to organize more sessions for you, your society, your municipal corporation. So thank you very much for joining. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next week. Let me announce for next week. We have um, a special guest who's indirectly helping in management of the problem that we face of urban mobility. So उन्होंने एक साइकिल बनाई है जो कि फोल्डेबल साइकिल है, और आप लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी के लिए उसको यूज कर सकते हैं। कॉलेज के स्टूडेंट्स जो बड़े बड़े कैंपस में हैं वो यूज कर सकते हैं, और फोल्ड करके उसके बाद उसको बस में लेकर अपने घर जा सकते हैं। या जो लोग हॉस्टल में रहते हैं वो जब कैंपस में और आसपास में यूज कर सकते हैं, उसके बाद में जब वो अपने घर जा रहे हैं तो वो बस में या ट्रेन में फोल्ड करके उसे ले जा सकते हैं। So he has created this foldable bicycle, and since it was World Bicycle Day and also World Environment Day last week, so हम next week उनके साथ बात करेंगे, and you'll be seeing that flyer very soon. Please do join, because आप बहुत कुछ सीख सकते हैं। जो लोग बोलते हैं जीरो माइल, लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी नहीं है जहाँ पर भी हम हैं, तो जिन शहरों में मेट्रो ऑलरेडी काम कर रही है, तो मेट्रो ने भी साइकिल ले जाना अलाउ कर दिया है। सो ही इज टेकन द फोल्डेबल साइकिल इन with him in the metro as well. That's what he said. So stay tuned. See you next week on Wednesdays for Waste Warriors. WWW equals 5R. Bye. Take care. See you all. Good night.